Welcome to the Hockey Writers Chicks and Sticks, a weekly show hosted by some of our best female hockey writers, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From talking hockey with NHL personalities to tackling the latest big issues, our team covers everything hockey and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some Chicks and Sticks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of Chicks and Sticks, brought to you by the Hockey Writers. My name is Melissa Boyd, and I'm once again joined by my partners in crime, Kristy Flannery, Hannah Garfield, and Mariah Holland. How are you doing, ladies? Welcome back, Kristy.
Thank you for having me back. Yay!
We missed you last week.
Oh, I missed you guys too. Good episode, though. It was a great episode.
So, well, it's just the four of us tonight, so that'll be a lot of fun. No guests tonight, unfortunately, for all of you who enjoy our guests, but we'll get a new one soon, so it'll just be the four of us for tonight. So if you are enjoying our show, make sure to drop us a like, a follow, or a comment from wherever you're watching or listening. And actually, I'm going to plug this now. Next week, we are going to do a Chicks and Sticks mailbag episode. So if you do have any questions for us regarding any NHL hockey topic, please send it in to us. Either by commenting on this video on YouTube or by sending it into our Twitter account, which, if you don't know, is THW Chicks Sticks. So be sure to follow us. And if you do have a question, let us know and we'll answer it next week. So for this week, we wanted to sort of do a bit of a recap of the offseason and also look ahead to the new season because training camps actually open in a matter of days. So the 22nd, I believe, is opening day for training camp. So I can't believe it's almost time for more hockey. So we wanted to sort of discuss some hot topics because actually we'll start with those because who says there's no news in the hockey world in the dead of August? Because last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, obviously, the huge news around the league was the offer sheet tendered by the Carolina Hurricanes to Jesperi Kotkaniemi, a young center for the Montreal Canadiens. And there's a lot to this offer sheet, a bit of revenge involved. For those who don't know, the Canadiens 2 years ago also tendered an offer sheet to Sebastian Aho of the Hurricanes. Let's just say Tom Dundon, the owner in Carolina, did not take kindly to that move. And so this was a bit of revenge, but I think also Carolina's decision to go after a promising young player. So just a quick context. So what it was they signed him to a 1-year, $6.1 million contract for this coming season. The thing with that is because he's a restricted free agent, the team that signs him to the contract would have to give him a qualifying offer that is that amount as well. So it wasn't just a 1-year commitment. So there was a whole thing around that. So in the end, after 7 days of keeping us in suspense, General Manager Marc Bergevin decided not to match the offer sheet, so let his former number 3 overall pick go to Carolina. In return, he received a first and third round pick, one first round pick and a third round pick. And just about an hour after he announced he wasn't matching the offer sheet, he acquired center Christian Dvorak from the Arizona Coyotes to make up for that loss. So he lost and won on the same day. So he came out even, I would say. We wanted to cover that. Sorry, that was a long spiel, but I just wanted to put everyone in context. I guess I'll start on this topic because it is the Canadiens, and I'm a bit close to this. What happened? Well, I think it surprised everyone, including everyone here in Montreal. I think everyone kind of knew that something was going to happen, like Dundon was going to get his revenge in some way. But to have this with the 6.1 million, which is beyond excessive in my opinion, was a bit shocking. And to be honest, I am not surprised at all that the Canadiens did not match it. Knowing how Bergevin does business, he does not overpay. He does not mess with his salary cap structure, regardless of who the player is. I'm sure it stung a lot to have to walk away from Kotkaniemi so soon. He's I guess you would say, unproven player so far, but with tons of potential. But I think in the end, he got a really good player in Dvorak. I think he's a great fit in Montreal. He's going to be a great 2C second centerman behind Nick Suzuki. I think he brings some experience and a bit of leadership as well. So he's a really great all-around player. So with some himself, I think some untapped potential, especially on offense. So I think all in all, it was about as good as we could have hoped for. If you're a Habs fan, it sucks, but at least we got something good to look forward to in the coming weeks. So I don't know what you girls thought from a little bit further, outside a little bit. I guess we'll start with Kristy for this one.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear what Hannah has to say about the money. I'll start and then Hannah can just roll off of this. He's 21. So he's young. Like you said, he's not proven. I think he's appeared in 171 games. He might have 62 points, 6.1. That is around the same amount as Brad Marchand and Larkin. He's not worth that much. And again, make the money. Good for you. But it was a complete overpay. He's making more money than Philip Forsberg and Taylor Hall. I mean, thankfully it's only the 1 year, but Hannah, I can't wait. Go ahead.
Yes, I apologize. I actually should have I should have passed it off to our money specialist here. Simple math.
Hannah, is that right?
I love that I've somehow gained this reputation and I'm like not actually a math person.
But it's great.
Well,
I think salaries are really fascinating.
Yeah. So did you cringe when you saw the amount? Because I did.
Yes, I did. Because I don't think anyone would deny that this is a overpay for for the player, but like Kristy said, you can't blame the player for
for him
seeing the money and taking it. Like good for him. He's 21. And I think this was one of the things that really interests me about this contract is I think Mel, you made the point a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about contracts in general, is that you kind of get paid for what you've done in the past.
Yep.
Well, this is definitely the exact opposite, where he's getting paid for what he could potentially be. And I do think he has room to grow. And I think of any team in the NHL, I think Carolina would be a good place for him to grow, especially because in the past couple of years, they've really, been a great place for young players to grow and develop. And they've have an excellent kind of development down there. I would almost say that's probably a better fit for if I'm a young 20-something-year-old player. I honestly think that Carolina would be a better fit than the Canadiens. No offense, Mel, but they haven't exactly had a ton of success drafting and developing players in the last couple of years.
I don't know what makes you say that.
Cole Caulfield is going to be the exception, of course. But so I think Carolina makes sense for him, and I think. Overall, was it a little petty? Yes. Is it overpaid? Yes. But I do think this could turn out well for all sides, the player, the Canes, the Canadiens. And at the end of the day, I don't think some people were very irrationally angry about this. And I don't think it's worth that. Again, it was a little petty, but it's some personality. And I think the NHL is always in need of more personality. So I don't
100%.
I don't hate the move. It's a fascinating and interesting move, but it's not like this is the end of the world.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's my rant on that.
Well done. Round of applause. I think the other thing is also that there's a ton of Finns on Carolina's roster, Aho, Teravainen. And actually, a lot of people are making the parallel with Teravainen, who basically Chicago gave to the Hurricanes in order to take on the Brian Bickle contract. And he really exploded in Carolina and became the player that he is now. So I'm guessing they're hoping for the same thing. And no, I was not one of those angry Habs fans who were who were like, oh my God, this is so bad, the $20 signing bonus, and this is unacceptable. I mean, I totally understand where it's coming from. I mean, you can't take that stuff personally. But you know that,
And then one other thing I just remember that I also wanted to say is that, you know, losing the first round draft pick and the third, it's obviously, it hurts a little bit, but at the end of the day, the Canes probably have one of the deeper prospects pool in the NHL. So again, like, from the point of view of the Canes, there's really there wasn't, besides the fact that you're overpaying a player, it's a no-brainer type of petty thing to do.
For sure. Mariah, did you have anything to add on this topic?
They said most of it as far as the money stuff. I would like to say, for like Hannah, when you were talking about the fan, like the rational fan point of view, people got to remember, as much as you hate it as a fan, it is a business, and they're gonna make the business moves regardless of what the fans think. And then the other one is for I was trying to think how to word it. He might be better at, like you said, a younger player in Carolina. He also won't have as much pressure there as he would in Montreal, because Montreal is Montreal. I mean, they expect a lot, as they should with the history they have. But he might have a little less pressure on his shoulders being in Carolina versus Montreal.
I agree with that.
It's interesting that you brought that up about the pressure, because actually Bergevin mentioned that in his press conference, and said, you know, if I sign this kid at $6.1 million, like, what's it going to do to him? And he brought that up, and how hard it would be for him to live up to that contract in a market like Montreal. So I thought that was nice of him, or sort of good recognition on his part. And I do actually think it was a deciding factor in choosing not to match. So good on you for bringing that up. So topic number 2, another bit of controversial topic here. And actually this, as much as the offer sheet was my, sort of affected me, I think this topic affects Mariah a little bit here, because the Minnesota, as you can see from her room decor, the Minnesota Wild released their Winter Classic jerseys, and let's just say they were not well received.
That's putting it mildly.
So everyone's been kind of talking about it. You see polls everywhere, and you know, those who like it kind of, you know, defending it and explaining why it is the way it is. So I wanted obviously to hear your thoughts on it, but of course I'm going to give the floor to Mariah to start, because she's the best person to explain this jersey choice to us.
So my first reaction, usually whenever there's jersey reveals, I actually like them, like, full on. This one, I was just like, what the heck is that at first? And then I kind of had to let it sink in a little bit. I love the colors. That doesn't bother me at all. My biggest problem with it is I wanted the Wild logo somewhere on there, just because, I mean, I'm going to be biased. Our logo is awesome, and I love it. But when I read into the choice, the reasoning behind it, like they wanted to get more of the background of Minnesota, like the other teams, and I haven't read the full story, but like the Saints and everybody involved in it with the Minneapolis-St. Paul part, it grew on me a little more. And I will say, Hannah, I know we talked about this before. You didn't like the tan, the breezers and the gloves. I love it. I love the old school. The jersey has to grow on me, but I love that throwback kind of idea. I don't know why, I just do. The biggest thing I hated on it was the elbow patches. When someone was talking about it on Twitter. I thought they were joking. I was like, no, they didn't do that. They didn't. So I'm sitting here Googling pictures and I'm like, really? Why is that a thing? Why is that there? I didn't like that. But I think by the time the Winter Classic comes around, I'll probably like it more. It just is taking a little time to grow on me.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, what did you think?
Okay. I agree. I like the color. It's a nice green, and I like the little pops of red. I do like the coloring on the actual jersey itself, where I don't like the tan gloves. I don't like the tan shorts. I don't know. There's something about tan I don't like. But I think the thing that I don't like I love when jerseys, they have little details that, when you look into it, you're like, oh, there's like a cool story about it. But for this jersey, I feel like you look at it and you're confused and you actually have to go and read to understand it. But just fine for little details, but like the overall concept needs to be a little bit more easily understood. I don't want to have to. When I stared at MPLS for too long, being like, MPLS,
You didn't know it was Minneapolis?
No, it did not occur to me.
People in Minnesota will get it right away because they see that all the time, because Minneapolis usually isn't spelled out. But for people outside the state, yeah, it's gonna be confusing.
Okay, that cleared it up a little bit more. I was like, MPLS, what is that? But again, I've never been to Minneapolis before, so I am not the target audience here.
Kristy, what did you think?
First, I love when we can combine hockey and fashion. Like it's like the greatest combination ever. And I do have to say, I love the Minnesota Wild retro jersey. I think they had the best one in the league. So I'll start there. I am not a fan of this jersey. I like the green. I'm not offended by the tan. I don't mind the red. It's just, I wish the logo and like the wording and the top stripe, I can't get past the top stripe. I didn't even know there were elbow patches on it because I was just staring at the stripe, questioning why someone thought that was a good idea. So I feel bad because I like the regular Minnesota Wild jersey. I really like. I love the logo. I wish they incorporated the logo into it. Overall, I'm giving it like a 6.5 out of 10.
They should have based it off of this one
Visually and
like where looking at it in the picture, where are the strings?
Yeah.
I think there's just too much going on. And it's like Hannah said, you have to like really like take a minute and dissect what's happening.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll look better. Maybe when they actually take the ice, it'll look a lot like cleaner. But just looking at it on like the Fanatics or NHL Shop website, it's not doing it for me.
Well, it's like there's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's like I wish they would have gone with just the retro, like you said, and maybe thrown in some red. I don't know if that would have really worked with that one, but
but like go off of that as your starting design.
I mean, like I appreciate what they were trying to do.
A for effort.
It's just.
I like the stars.
Well, and even like Spurgeon, I watched his kind of they unveiled it at the state fair. And,
okay, that's cool.
That's
cool. And like watching he was all happy, but now like looking in the article and seeing his face, it's like the thoughts behind him. I think he's just like, what am I wearing and why?
I feel pretty confident saying that I'm going to like the Blues jersey more than Minnesota. I feel pretty confident saying that at this point in time.
I don't know. There's a lot of yellow in the little peak.
Yes, there's a lot of yellow in their teases. So
all I'll say is these jerseys are really going to clash each other. I feel like
you're definitely going to know who's who on the ice. You can't mistake that.
Like Vegas's gold helmets.
Oh, that's like a whole other issue for a whole other episode.
I liked those though.
I think we clearly need to add a fashion segment.
Yes.
I would love a fashion segment.
Yeah, I agree.
Love it.
Okay, noted for next time. We're gonna
mailbox. Anybody have a question about fashion and hockey?
Yes.
Next week.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Anything fashion related too, by the way. So now now that we've covered the hot topics around the league, we're gonna move to, I guess, kind of wrap up the off season before we talk about the new season. So just quickly, I wanted to know, now that the off season has happened more or less, and no, Jack Eichel is not traded yet. But so I suppose the offseason will never end until he does, but get traded. But I wanted to know which team's offseason moves did you like the most and why? So for this one, we'll start with Hannah.
Oh, wow. I get to go first. So I think the team that I think is the most improved in my eyes is the Chicago Blackhawks. I think, at first when they signed Seth Jones, I was like, that's a great deal for Seth Jones. I was a little confused why it was in Chicago, because I was like, that's a lot of money, when I feel like Chicago had more to do than just signing Seth Jones to be a championship team. But now, after adding Marc-Andre Fleury, with the hopeful return of Jonathan Toews, I think this is a much, much better team. And I think that if they don't make the playoffs this year, it would be a disappointment. They really should be playoff bound this year. I don't know if they're necessarily a Stanley Cup favorite, but they're definitely a playoff team again, in my opinion.
Kristy?
I tried really hard not to be biased, but I'm going with New Jersey. I just back up for Mackenzie Blackwood. Check. Defenseman. Check twice for that one. Top 6 forward. Check. I'm not saying this is a Stanley Cup team, but they're improved and we checked all the boxes that we need. So I'm going with my home team. I'm going with New Jersey.
I like it. I agree. Both very good choices, but not the team not my choice. So I'm happy about that. Mariah.
I kind of have two. I have to say something about the Wild buying out Parisi and Suter. I don't know if it's going to help or not. I hope it helps. I think I'm just interested to see what happens, obviously. My other choice, I'm going to go bold and say Seattle. With Grubauer and like Schmaltz, was it? I was going to say Schultz. I just think, I don't know, I felt like I was a little too harsh on them at first, and they might surprise everyone. So I'm kind of waiting to see what they do.
Well, obviously they're improved from having no team to having a team after the off season.
That's the improvement of the off season. Yeah.
Well, I will say, I know that the expansion draft itself was underwhelming, but I think they did really well in free agency. And that's good. And I think they're building the right way, sort of from the net up. So, they've got the strong goaltending and the strong defense. So I think it's a good start, but that is actually a good choice. I like that. My choice is actually the Philadelphia Flyers. Yes, that's who my choice is. I was like, yes, it is.
That was my
Philadelphia
second.
Flyers. I think they were I liked their moves because they were bold. They knew they had to make big changes. The team has been underperforming for some time. The mix just didn't seem right. And I really like what they did. I think they added players that fit into kind of what, sort of their identity. Rasmus Ristolainen, Cam Atkinson, I really like as a player. So I think, and they sort of remodeled their whole defense how could I forget Ryan Ellis, of course. So they remade their whole entire defense corps. And so I really like what they did. And I definitely think that Alain Vigneault is on the hot seat right out of the gate. I think if they don't perform, he might be the candidate to be the first coach let go this season. So, but all great choices.
I had the Flyers and the Bruins as my honorable mentions.
I had the Flyers as my honorable mention too.
So there, but I'm impressed that we didn't have, we all had different answers.
That was good.
Very good.
Go team, go.
So now to get into the 2021-22 season, I know it's early. We haven't really seen much yet, anything at all, actually. How teams are going to incorporate their new players, what lines they're going to play on, what pairings they're going to, defense pairings they're going to have. But anyway, I wanted to, from what you've seen on paper so far, and after all the postseason moves, I wanted you to give me one or multiple bold predictions for this season. We'll start with Kristy for this one.
You wanted bold, and I have to say, before I give my answer, there is no alcohol intake involved in the solving of this question. I went really bold with no reason to back up my sentence, is that Ottawa is going to make the playoffs. No reason why. First thing that came to my head, I said, we're going with it. No wine was consumed.
I like it. I actually think that's a distinct possibility. So
thank you for backing me up. I don't know who's not going to make it, but I'm going to make it.
That links to my bold prediction.
There we go. Okay, then Hannah.
Because my bold prediction was that the Maple Leafs don't make the playoffs.
We're on the same page.
Because that Atlantic Division is going to be really, really tough this year, and someone's going to be on the outside looking in, and I really, my gut instinct is saying the Maple Leafs because they're the Leafs.
Wow, I was taking that spot.
See, that was going to be my bold prediction, but I didn't dare say it because people would just accuse me of being a grouchy Habs fan. But thank you. I'm glad you said it.
I'm not actually in Canada. I don't share a border with Toronto, so I don't care. Like you're got to be careful there, Montreal.
Yeah, that's it. Mariah, your bold prediction for a team, I guess, this season.
I literally just thought of this one because I had not prepared for this question. I'm gonna go on Hannah's route and someone who's not gonna make it, partially because I'm a bitter rival too. And I'm going to say Colorado is not going to.
That's bold.
That's really bold.
I thought I had everybody with Ottawa.
That's
bold with a capital
B.
That's
a hot take right there.
Yeah, damn.
Woo.
I got to recover from that. Woo.
Yeah, we won't let Nate McKinnon watch this show because he won't like that.
Even though I like him as a player, nothing against him.
I had two other bold predictions.
Oh, go.
I had three.
Let's go.
Three.
Sorry, go.
So my first one was obviously the Maple Leafs don't make the playoffs. Second, Los Angeles Kings make the playoffs and surprise people by winning the first round. I don't think they get beyond the first round, but I think they win the first round. And then third, someone not named Connor McDavid wins Art Ross this year.
You stole both of my predictions. That's why I don't like going west, because mine were the Kings make the playoffs and that Connor McDavid does not win the scoring title.
Oh gosh, Melissa, I love that we're on the same page.
But my favorite one is the Leafs not making the playoffs. I'm just gonna.
Who do you think wins Art Ross instead? Because I couldn't think of that. I just didn't think it would be.
Interesting.
Are we going realistic or bold?
Both. Bold. Both.
That's interesting.
I mean, McKinnon's the obvious.
He's too obvious though.
Choice, but that's too obvious for me. I don't know. Patrick Kane.
Comeback season. I like that.
With the new and improved Blackhawks, I think I could see that for sure.
Who's going to be the bold trade at the trade deadline?
Whew.
I'm going to go. I've been saying this for years, so I'm just going to manifest it into realization. I'm going to say Malkin.
I thought you were going to say Subban.
They said that I read something. They're like, "Oh, Toronto's interested in Subban." I said,
With what money?
What money are they taking?
Simple math.
I'd rather have Kotkaniemi at $6.1 million than Subban for $9 million.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I like that, Malkin, because I feel like every year I'm like, is this the year they put them up?
At some point,
I don't think Mario Lemieux would actually let that happen.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. But at some point, they're going to have to go into some form of a rebuild. And you're not going to get rid of Crosby. And I think between him and Letang, Malkin has the better return.
Yeah.
He had knee surgery though.
I think I would still take him though over Letang.
Yeah. They would get a huge return for him, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That would be very, very there's certain people you just can't picture in any other jersey but the one they're currently in. That's Malkin. Yeah. I'm like, I could not picture him in any jersey that's not Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I think another candidate would be Claude Giroux in Philly.
That'd be interesting too.
Because they mentioned, I think, I read that they weren't going to decide right now whether, because he's a unrestricted free agent after this season, so they said they weren't hadn't decided yet whether they were going to offer him a new contract. So I think that's another possibility also.
Tomas Hertl could also be, I feel like he's going to be a big name tossed around. If he's not traded in the next 3 weeks, then he's going to be a big trade deadline piece.
Yeah, I agree.
I was going to talk about or mention too all the young players that are going to be coming in, like all the rookies, and even second year players that are going to be coming into the league this year. I'm really excited for that. Moritz Seider in Detroit. They've been talking about him forever, it seems, and it just seems like there's this influx even after last year with Kaprizov coming in and with Garfield coming in. Trevor Zegras is going to play, full time, I think. So I think for me, if I was to make another bold prediction would be, I think these young players are going to have huge impact and will be involved in scoring races and awards, even league awards, beyond the Calder Trophy. I think it's becoming a really young player league. Yeah. So I think, so there's a lot of names to watch out for.
And I'm going to say Marner belongs in a different jersey as well. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yes,
he deserves, as a human being, he deserves to be treated better by a franchise.
I also if this is jumping ahead maybe to the end, but I think if things don't go well in Toronto this year, there's going to be big major changes. Yeah. Coming front office. I think so. I think
especially if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
What's worse, missing it or losing in the first round?
I think at this point for Jasly Sven's much the same.
Right.
Pretty much the same. So the last part of our season preview I wanted to is what a team and a player that you'll be watching extra closely this year and why. So Mariah, we'll start with you for this one.
I'm going biased all the way. My team and Kaprizov. It's
why?
Not that surprising, but because I want to see him score more points than he did. And I want to see some more hat tricks and some more goals, and the Wild actually have someone that can score.
There you go. There. And that's a mic drop there right there.
Brian's on fire this episode.
Kristy. Here.
For teams, I have two. I have the Flyers. So I'm curious how the pieces are going to fall. And actually the Canadians, I'm curious if it's going to be a one-off where it's the Devils and the Rangers where they made it to the Stanley Cup final and then immediately enter a rebuild of sorts, or if they can kind of keep that level. And for a player, I said Ned for the brand new Detroit Red Wing goaltender. Mm-hmm. I want to see if he's going to play to the point where Carolina is going to regret getting rid of him.
Yeah, that was definitely the most interesting move of the offseason for me.
He was so good in the playoffs. He was so, I know they switched him in and out of goal, but he has potential.
Yeah, but it was also to just have, and then to replace him with Frederick Anderson in Carolina's part was a bit odd. But I like that. I think Detroit as a team is a team to watch, just to see what kind of progression they're going to make. Hopefully they can take the next step finally, especially for our dear friends at the grind line. I hope that for them.
Back to that Atlantic division.
Yeah, I know. That's it, right? Where they can play the Canadians and beat them every game. Hannah, who is your player and team that you're going to be watching closely?
So my team is the Los Angeles Kings. Going back to my bro prediction, I really do think they're going to be good. They've stockpiled some great prospects over the past couple of years, who I think, this is going to be their year to make the NHL. Also need to start developing some sort of alliance to them for when I move out there. Start now. I have a year and a half, so I need to start. Bruins are always number one, but I feel like I need to have some sort of team out there to cheer for. And then for player, I have two. So one is an obvious Jack Eichel. Where is he gonna end up? I feel like everybody in the NHL world is kind of.
I feel like at this point, is he even gonna play this season? Because let's not forget, he hasn't even had his surgery yet or a resolution to his injury. So, anyways, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I think we're all kind of on the Jack Eichel watch right now. And I think even if he doesn't play this year and he doesn't play until next year, if we're talking about other people who might make a run for the Art Ross, he could be very well be an option. And then my other player is Andrei Svechnikov in Carolina, brand new contract. Another young player, he's only 21. So I think we're just starting to scratch the surface, and in the first year of a brand new contract, I really think he's going to do something big this year. So I think he'll be fun to watch.
I like it.
A lot of hot takes this episode.
I like that. For me, my team to watch is going to be, I'm going to stick with Canada here and say the Winnipeg Jets, because
good one.
I feel like they finally sort of addressed their defense, which they've needed to do. We all know how strong they are up front with their insane top six forward, and I feel like they really did some good work to rework their defense corps tonight. So I think this is a year for them where I think they're gonna do big things. So I'll be keeping an eye on them. And for me, my players are the two top name defensemen who changed teams this offseason. So Dougie Hamilton and Seth Jones, just to see the kind of impact that they have with their new teams, and if they can sort of keep up, So I'm really anxious to see them in their new uniforms.
There's nothing to keep up with in New Jersey, so Dougie will be fine.
He's gonna be setting the pace.
Dougie's setting the pace in New Jersey, so we're all good on that front.
I love how I think this a few days ago, or maybe it was even today, he's been skating with New Jersey Devils gear, and it's literally the entire fan base is in a frenzy, oh my god, it's real. I had to laugh, and they've got him in their Twitter header, he's everywhere.
The last good goal defenseman we've had, Scott Niedermayer and Scott Stevens. It's been a long time coming, okay? We went through a lot of defensemen to get to this point in our life, so we need to celebrate this.
I was going to say the last time it would be the two Scots. Yeah, that's
right now we're winners. I don't know what's going to happen in October, but we are winners right now.
Everybody's a winner until the season starts.
Exactly, until you suffer your first loss of the year. Everyone's a Stanley Cup contender right now. So
can I add Blackwood to my players to watch? I just want to see how he does with an actual solidified backup. I want to see if his game is going to improve.
Agreed. Yeah, I feel like he's ready to take another step, right? To really establish himself. We've been talking a long time for a while about his potential.
Yes.
And his talent. And unfortunately, he's not been playing behind a very good team So
My bold take is going to be that he's going to finish top 10 in the Vezina voting. He's not going to be a finalist, but he's going to be in the top 10.
I like
that's
it.
fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair because he's going to have to be really good if they want to make a playoff push. So I think
he has it. And now we have two, over 6'4" defensemen in front of him. I think he has a snowball's chance.
Hey, he's getting a fighting chance this year. It's good.
Yes.
Unlike the poor souls in Arizona.
Poor Arizona.
We won't have too much of a chance. Although I will say, boy, do they have draft picks? If you're wondering where all the draft picks went, they're in Arizona.
Fans have to wait a couple years, but they'll be back.
Oh yeah, they'll be back.
They'll be competitive again.
Yeah,
they'll be back, and then for a season, and then they'll go back into the cycle of taking on everybody's bad contracts will start again.
Well, I will say they do have one of my favorite players in the league, and Jacob Chitrin. So, I just hope for the best for him. It's going to be a long year in Arizona.
Maybe he'll make the Olympic roster, and we'll have something to look forward to.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Olympics. That's like a whole other
yes.
episode too. That's going to be
great.
great.
I can't believe we should have talked about this.
Next week. We'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about the Olympics.
Send in your Olympic questions.
We have lots of time. Yes, if you have Olympics questions, like who's going to make your team, send them in. But it's true, we have a lot of time to talk about the Olympics. So with that, unfortunately, we're already out of time for this week. Time flies when we're chatting amongst ourselves. That's what it feels like now.
Yeah,
we're just chatting amongst friends. We forget that we're on record sometimes. So thanks as always, ladies, for this awesome discussion. Can't wait for hockey to start. It feels like it's starting to feel like Christmas around. So yeah, opening up training camps on September 22nd. And it all kicks into high gear from there. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, next week is a Season 6 mailbag episode. So please, if you do have a question, it can be anything hockey related, please send it our way and we'll be sure to answer it. And we want to thank you for your continued loyal viewership and for listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. So thank you so much. And be sure to check out all the other great shows that are being produced by the Hockey Writers on a weekly basis. If you want your hockey fix, Hockey Writers is where you get it. Morning Skate newsletter as well. Be sure to sign up. If you're not, they actually graded the Minnesota jersey out of 10. So that's where the Kristy's 6.5 out of 10 came from.
6.5.
So there's always some awesome, I don't know how they do it, getting all this awesome content during the off season like they have been doing. It's really fun. I enjoy reading it every morning. And of course, visit our website because all of our awesome articles and stories are being published daily on the site. So thanks for reading, tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.